Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Roma Press live stream. This time it's for real. This time the deal is done. Romelu Lukaku, as I'm recording this, just landed in Rome a few minutes ago. Literally around uh, 10 to 6 local time in Rome. The Belgian striker flew in to Ciampino Airport with a private flight that was manned by Dan Friedkin himself. Hi everybody. Hi Sufyan, Zichin, Amazing Vincent saying Romelu. Yes. Hello. Buongiorno. Hi everybody. We're gonna wait a little bit until more people come in. In the meantime, this whole thing is going on as we speak. There is thousands of fans at the Ciampino. Oh, Gisberto from Vancouver Island. Thanks for the stream. Hey, Gisberto, I was literally in Vancouver Island about 3 months ago. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Went all over the area. Grouse Mountain. I was there. I was there. White Rock. I was there. As necessary as this move is, I don't like it in a long term way. We'll get to that right away. Bonucci, we'll get to it. I see people are very enthusiastic about the latest rumors. Hi, all. Exciting times. Hi, Mike. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Let's hope he stays fit. This is a big deal for Roma. If you're seeing the scenes that I'm seeing right now on social media, on Sky, you are seeing the kind of scenes that we all witnessed in 2015 when Edin Dzeko landed in the capital. It was utter madness. Richard from New Mexico, great to have you. Hi from Beijing. This is amazing. See, that's what I'm talking about. Joey, hey Joey, good to hear from you again. Um, somebody again talking about Bonucci. We are gonna get into it in just a few moments. It's an exciting day. I think we have an idea of what a signing like Lukaku's can mean, especially when you see the atmosphere on Twitter or on the forums. But when it's happening, when it's really happening, um, you really get the sense of what it means for the fan base, what it means for the aspirations of the team, and how it changes completely the complexity of our season. That doesn't mean that we're gonna become Scudetto contenders overnight. It's not how it works. This is we're still talking about Roma. Um, Hello from Greece. Hello. Uh, I thought I was delusional, but he arrived. Yes, he certainly did. Ken from Houston. Howdy. Heck no to Bonucci. Yep, that's another way of Eddie feels strongly about Bonucci. Will these are the final days of the transfer window is where you know it's like that scene in Heat that I keep referring to on the Roma Press podcast, and which I encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is what we're doing now, but also please consider becoming a patron. You can do so by going to patreon.com/Roma Press. It really keeps us going. Like we completed our 400th episode, which is huge because John and I, it's the two of us. We started recording together in 2018, and we never thought we'd even get to half of that. So it's a huge milestone, and what you allow us to do. That's the bottom line. We thank you, everybody, and we hope to keep going. We hope to continue delivering the content that you need and that you seek, both on the website and on the podcast, and now on the YouTube channel. So please, if you could consider becoming a patron, thank you so much. And again, thank you to all our wonderful patrons. um, Everybody's excited. I know. I was referring to the scene in Heat, the Michael Mann movie from 1995, when Tom Sizemore's character has to make a decision about whether he will proceed with Vincent. Sorry, not Vincent, but with Neil, with Robert De Niro's character, and he is reflecting on whether to take part in a big bank robbery, and he just thinks about it for a second, and he says, for me, the action is the juice. And that is exactly that's the last days of the transfer window. We are just a couple of days away from the transfer deadline, so please expect all these rumors to just ramp up all of a sudden. Bonucci, Hugo Lloris, De Gea, all of those names, they're going to continue to be linked with Roma. That doesn't mean that there is necessarily something there. We're going to get into it, but please brace yourselves. Yeah, let's all book our tickets to Dublin, says Joey Peruzza. Yeah, that's a good thought. Sky's the limit. I think. Good to see you, Andy. I'm subscribed. Hi, Eddie from Trinidad and Tobago. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Uh, yeah, yeah, it's massive news. Yeah, seriously, it's whatever people have, again, an idea of what signings mean, because everything happens now on social media. But once it happens in real life, once you see this guy land in Ciampino, get out of his private jet, and be swarmed by this mass of people. I mean, yes, Joey says over 40,000 people tracked the flight on Flight Radar. Number one most tracked air flight. Yeah. And then think about what happens in Rome itself, PC123. Ciao, Andy. Hello. Good to see you guys. Thank you. Where's the Hawaiian shirt? I actually have one in this wardrobe right here, but I'm not gonna. This is not the time. Still, I maybe for deadline day. Who knows? I would not understand if they tried to sign Hugo Lloris. He's been as bad as Patricio. Right? We'll get to it. Yes, Juan is also excited about Romelu. I'm just looking at what is happening right now on the social media. Yeah, for sure there's a couple thousand fans present at the Ciampino airport. These are, again, these are scenes that we may have witnessed, Roma fans may have witnessed only when Edin Dzeko came in. And it seems funny even to say, because Edin Dzeko at the time, when we think of Edin Dzeko now, it's not immediate, but the Edin Dzeko arrival in 2015 was hinted at something big, hinted at Roma all of a sudden finding themselves in the spotlight with one of the most remarkable talents and strikers in the Bundesliga and the Premier League at that time. And all of a sudden, it seemed like dreams do come true. And I think with Lukaku is the same thing. It's the same thing, because you get a guy that for so long seemed to be completely out of reach. All of us congratulated Inter on getting him back under Conte, and the way he led that team. For us, it was like we were the onlookers watching this whole thing unravel from the outside in, and now we're participants, and that's what makes people go crazy. Yes, Andy, another piece to the puzzle, brother. Great energy for Roma. Thank you, Richard. Yes. Amos. Andy, I'm in the WhatsApp group and keep a low profile due to the antiques and negativity. Time aspect apart, I respect the heck out of you putting yourself out here for this. No, thank you, Amos. Yeah, it's the patron group chat. is very specific. Well, I have to, I have to warn everybody that it can be a lovely place, it can be a damning place, it can be a place where if you are just looking for a moment of peace and quiet, that's you're not gonna be given that. It is certainly engaging, but I totally understand keeping a low profile. Amos, thank you for the support. um when I hear Dzeko's name, I think of that goal he scored versus Chelsea, and that's, yes, exactly, the goal versus Chelsea by Dzeko. That is that class, that quality that we all sought with Dzeko. That was the kind of goal that you need from a striker like that. That is something that we want to see with Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, with Edin Dzeko, it was a long-term deal with Luke. But mind you, remember what happened with Edin Dzeko. Signs long term, but after that first season, he's already thinking, do I leave? Do I go? Right? It was a very bizarre situation because of how poor, how underwhelming his first season in the Italian capital was. Here, Lukaku signs on a dry loan. Roma are going to pay a fee of something above 5 million euros. They're going to be paying Lukaku around 7 million pounds. And so the player had to significantly lower his wages to make this possible. It's a short-term option. During Roma's negotiations with Chelsea, Chelsea did change the structure of Lukaku's contract, and they inserted a release clause of 37 million pounds, which translates to 43 million euros. So that is worth noting. So in case Lukaku impresses over this season, he will have a release clause of around 43 million euros. That's what's going to happen now. Chelsea are doing basically everything they can to secure an exit from Lukaku permanently. Let's see what. Thanks for your balanced and level-headed takes in a world of maximum hyperbole. Yes, Amos, that is what we try to do on Roma Press. Um, Lukaku signing is quite a big one. This shows Roma is getting into elite class. More big names would be attracted to Roma. Mourinho impact. Certainly, there is a Mourinho impact. I think there is also that Friedkin impact in the first place that then allows Mourinho to come in and generate the attention, the enthusiasm. That is, I think it really is a collaboration, for better or worse, in the good and in the bad, because this doesn't mean that this club, this management, haven't done mistakes over the last 2 to 3 years, with Mourinho in charge, but it seems like everybody's on board, or at least trying to resolve the situation or find the best solution together, right? So Mazin, hey Mazin, good to see you. Hello friends, finally made it to the live chat. Yes, welcome. This is where it all happens. So uh yeah, Joey Palmieri saying, yeah, well, yeah, this is a good deal for while finding a younger striker for the future, for sure. Like, this is, it's a short-term option with with the idea of giving Roma back that enthusiasm that may have been lost along the way following the defeat in the Europa League. I think the morale in the fan base, we can agree, was getting kind of rocked by the negativity, by the bitterness that was left following the defeat in the Europa League. And I think the Friedkins with Mourinho, that's what they try to do, is they try to pick up that enthusiasm. They try to keep it going. You're not gonna get a sold out stadium if you bet everything on Andrea Belotti and Sardar Azmoun. That doesn't mean that the fans will not attend. This is, Roma still have one of the most passionate fan bases in Italy, but the enthusiasm, that kind of spark, that energy that allows you then to go through even difficult moments throughout the season, that kind of enthusiasm is there if you, as the club, show that you care, that you will try to make investments that will put you at risk of going over the financial fair play parameters. But in doing so, you show determination to to take this team to the next level, and the next level is Champions League qualification. So guys, this whole move with Lukaku is a clear, I called it, luxury desperation move on yesterday's podcast episode, on the 400th episode, because I think really it was Roma making the best of an opportunity and going all in for, and to send a strong message that yes, we will compete for top four. Tito, listening to Andy talking about Roma, just perfect. Thank you, Tito. That's very kind. Good to see you. Yes, good to see you. Time to focus on Milan and take the wind out of their sails for sure. And I don't think, Drew, that this is going to be the kind of game that everybody expects it to be. Um, Sofyan says the last few years were mostly about getting out of the rubble of a terrible period, introducing some standards. The amount of players sold and that have achieved nothing since leaving is insane. Think about it. It's yes, definitely. We keep talking about Roma wanting to this whole idea of year zero, of project zero, of starting over. It almost seems like we never get to it because there's so much stuff to take care of, and I truly think that this summer we managed to do a lot. People may not realize this, or they may get upset about the idea of selling younger talents in order to generate the revenue that we needed to generate within June 30th. But I think the main conclusion of this summer is that Roma, for the first time in a while, I think, made it clear that they want to get out of this whole slump that they were in for the past 5 years, which is how long it's been since we've taken part in Champions League football. So definitely somebody is getting animated about Lukaku. How would Belotti feel after Lukaku's arrival? Feels like he will not be a number one choice anymore. I think we all have to consider that we're not going to see Lukaku playing on Friday. This is a guy that, like Belotti last year, hasn't trained with the team in 3 months, right? So if anything, we'll see Lukaku, I guess, in 3 weeks. I would imagine, like, that's, if I have to make a prediction, that's the prediction that so I think with Belotti, he's gonna be fine if he keeps that same spirit he had last season, and Mourinho likes him. So this is, the Lukaku's arrival doesn't mean anything. If it means something, it means we want to be competitive, and if you want to be competitive, you need multiple options up front, right? So Eddie agreeing with Sufyan, saying Jose Pinto and Friedkins had to clean up a lot of mess left by previous management. Honestly, I think Jose and the Friedkins have worked wonders. The club is back and competitive. Yes, on a certain level, definitely. Because when was the last time we saw this team compete in 2 consecutive European finals? So the evidence is right there. Now, then, obviously, you can argue about the quality of the squad, the depth, the kind of names that you want to see and you don't see with this team, the fact they're finishing in the league, obviously behind the likes of Lazio, Milan. But at the end of the day, the progress, I think, is pretty evident, even just by the fact that we are welcoming Romelu Lukaku on a private flight. We're not welcoming Duvan Zapata, who, by the way, right now is very close to joining Torino. Duvan Zapata, he was supposed to join us on a permanent deal from Atalanta and is going now most likely to end up at Torino. So let's see what else is there. Thumbs up if you enjoy seeing Lazio with 0 points. Well, that's for you guys. Hello from Germany, Basim. Forza Roma. Yep. I pray we get a center back and a goalkeeper after Lukaku, says Steven. And that's why, yes, that's what I wanted to do here. I wanted first to sort of react to this arrival by Lukaku, since the last episode of this live stream that I did was sort of leading up to an imminent agreement for Lukaku. And now he's here. And there's a complete madness. I'm looking now on Twitter. There's incredible scenes at Ciampino Airport. But I wanted to see first the reactions to this deal finally taking shape. Um, I know that some people are worried about the temporary nature of this signing, of perhaps the fact that this is, you know, a short term solution. And to which I agree, it is a short term solution. You know, it's a dry loan. There's going to be a release clause in Lukaku's new contract with Chelsea at the end of the season, but it is a short term option. And I think we need to acknowledge the fact that Roma were waiting for something like this to happen. They were waiting. Most likely, Lukaku is not on their radar 2 months ago. You know, on Roma were looking at Scamacca. They were looking at Alvaro Morata. These names did not materialize because they were only going to leave on a permanent deal with fees of above 20 million euros, which is something that Roma just could not come up with. And that's why then you had this whole shopping list of the likes of Marco Arnautovic, Duvan Zapata, Luis Muriel, Marcos Leonardo, and finally you end up with Lukaku because that's the opportunity. That's what the moment allows you to get, right? Seize the day, carpe diem, and that's exactly what Roma did with Lukaku. So let's see what else. What else do we have? We have people already talking about Rui Patricio, which we'll get into. Any chance Ndika plays Friday? I struggle to imagine that a guy who doesn't get any playing time against Salernitana and Hellas Verona is all of a sudden thrown into the mix against this kind of Milan team that have shown to be really in form. I'm willing to bet that Ndika will come back after the break. Um, that's when Roma will give him a shot, because from the latest reports, Ndika is a bit behind in terms of just getting on the same wavelength with his teammates. So let me see just the group. Thank you, Titus, following the live stream. Let's see what else. I forgot about Leonardo. Yeah, he's still there somewhere in the background. Taken hostage by Santos. No, but really, it's that was very bizarre, wasn't it? For about a month, it seemed like Marcos Leonardo was the solution to all of our prayers, and now he's gone radio silence. So hello, Andy. Will Marquinhos return to Roma? Hey, that's a good catch, Brian. That's a good shout. That would definitely be a romantic ending to this transfer window. Because honestly, guys, if the question is, are Roma gonna do any other signing? I would say that I would say there is a chance that Roma might do something else on the market. There's still time, and there's still that center back position that I think needs to be addressed, or at least Roma want to address it. And then again, it's a matter of opportunities. Does the opportunity present itself? And that's why I think we are also getting those rumors about Leonardo Bonucci. Okay, hello everybody. Yes, we're getting a nice group of people here. Steve saying, "Who is your least favorite patron and why is it Mads?" No, man, I can never. Mads is one of the originals. You know, Mads is somebody that's been there with us forever, and we may see sometimes things differently, but I think in essence we're on the same wavelength. So we need a goalkeeper and a wing back who can actually cross the ball. Now there you tap into what I've said a number of times, is that if there is a clear misunderstanding in terms of tactics, what the team wants to do, and what the team has at its disposal, is that wing back position. You're looking at a whole series of players that should be finishing the season with above 5 assists each one of them, and they have none. That's that's the bottom line. We have wing backs, we play with a 3-5-2, and we can't get a single cross right. So that's definitely a reason to worry, and that's perhaps also why the latest rumors of Manchester United interested in Spinazzola were met with such enthusiasm. Spina actually being touted by United for sure. Spinazzola has been proposed. Spinazzola is one of those guys that Spinazzola has one of those agents, Davide Lippi, who are desperately seeking, moves. His agent is known for trying to basically shop Spinazzola anywhere. Anywhere in Italy, anywhere in the world. Spinazzola had drawn interest from Saudi earlier in the summer. No offer arrived at Roma's doorstep. Now, Manchester United, following the injuries of Luke Shaw and Malacia, they have Spinazzola as one of the players on the radar. I mean, it's obvious, Spinazzola still has a reputation following that Euro 2020 run, which unfortunately it seems like that's the distant memory. And that is obviously, a player that we have to consider at the end of the day could move in I imagine that if there are players still in this squad that could move before the transfer deadline, it's Spinazzola and it's Ola Solbakken. I think that's because you can still live without them. You can still live without Spinazzola because what he gives you is very little. He has only 1 year left on his contract, and the performances so far have been quite dreadful. Please tell me, are we signing any new goalkeeper? I would love to be able to say yes, but I I think the consensus is that we stick to Rui. But let's see. Is the guest still available? Yes. Uh, I hope to see you with John here on YouTube. Yes, yesterday, we mentioned that we might do one of these live streams together. It's just a matter of John finding the time and place to do it, since he has a busier lifestyle than I do, and we're doing we're recording it in different time zones. Kostic rumor real? Anthony asks. No, so far, from what I know, Kostic is something that the fans want, and I agree with them because to go from Spinazzola, who basically has 0 assists to his name, to Kostic, who I think had like 8 assists last season, you're already improving you're further improving your squad immensely. It's an immense improvement, but is it likely to happen? I don't see Juventus, you know, going going out of its way to end up helping a rival. I don't see that happening. It would be awesome. It would be awesome, and I honestly believe that Spinazzola, if there is a chance for Roma to offload him before the transfer deadline, they'll do anything because he is costing you so much money. It's unbelievable. He's basically one of the most expensive players on the roster, and he is 1 year away from becoming a free agent. So this is the last chance. This is the last dance for Spinazzola. Um, okay, I see that everybody wants to move on to, I think, to the goalkeeper situation, right? So I see people saying De Gea. I see people mentioning Vladimiro Falcone from Lecce. Sufjan says we can't bench Rui. VR being better is not a guarantee. If you bench him, you might break the relationship and the confidence. Patricio needs to be supported if we aren't replacing him. Uh, Definitely, I do think that and at the end of the day, that's to me, it's the goalkeeper position is something that needs to be resolved on a long-term basis, right? It's not like getting a fifth center back, adding a fifth center back to your roster. There you might as well get something short-term, a loan, a free agent on a 1 year deal, whatever it is. That is not an urgent matter. The goalkeeper situation is more urgent, but it's also, I think, related to something more long term. I think the consensus is that Roma would like to have a long term option after Patricio. Patricio is gonna. I imagine he's going to conclude his time at Rome after 3 years, and that's the club would like to get something that will help them have something more stable in the future. Bring in a younger profile, have somebody sign a long-term deal, and the names that we saw come up: Hugo Lloris, same age as Patricio, and very questionable past year. I don't think that's the answer to your problems, especially because the guy declined Lazio because he didn't want to be backup to Provedel. And at Roma, I mean, obviously Sviar is there, but Lloris is not a guarantee long term. I don't think that's a profile that we are excited about. De Gea is a whole different point, right? He's younger. He's 32 years of age. Um, he had a pretty rough season at Manchester United. One can argue that it really depends on the defense in front of him, also on the environment around him. That was De Gea arguably has a pretty remarkable career for somebody that is now 32 years of age and still a free agent. So I think those are names that obviously have some truth to it. Like, for example, I can believe that Hugo Lloris's entourage, um, after going to Lazio and declining that option, turning to Roma and being like, "Hey guys, if you need." If you need another goalkeeper, here's this French shot stopper. Brian says, "Hello, Andy. Who will be Roma's coach after Mourinho?" Guys, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. The special one is still here. Um, let's see. Is Dybala match fit for Milan? We don't know. Dybala did not train yesterday. He did not train today, so he has 2 days left in order to get back to playing time. Um, so we'll see. There are no injuries. The guy didn't suffer. Dybala did not suffer any significant injuries in his last outing with Hellas Verona. He felt some pain in his hip, but Roma ran some tests. He's fine, but he still hasn't trained with the group ahead of Milan. So we'll see if tomorrow. If I think if he doesn't train tomorrow, chances are that we might not see Dybala at the Stadio Olimpico against Milan. I'm just looking here what's going on. Vladimiro Falcone. Now that's a name for those of you that don't know. Vladimiro Falcone, Lecce goalkeeper, had a very impressive season last year with Lecce, who were promoted to Serie A and then avoided relegation. See, they stayed up. He's there. I think people mention him not only because he's a good goalkeeper for sure. He's 28 years old, so he's getting there. He's getting to the goalkeeper's prime. But also because he's a renowned Roma fan, so I think everybody is keen on that. Vladimiro Falcone is a profile that if he does well this year, I can see Lecce asking for it. I mean, how Serie A clubs do when they have a good goalkeeper. Goalkeepers are expensive in this economy. I can see Vladimiro Falcone going for 25, 30 million next year. So we'll see. I think a lot of these decisions, these long-term decisions, like for example, the fact that Lukaku, you're getting him now, you're not getting him next year, you're getting him now on a dry loan. A lot of this will ride on that Champions League qualification, and the message once again that Roma, the Friedkins in particular, are sending to the team and also to the fans is we'll do everything we can to get Champions League football. Sufyan says De Gea was asked to do more with his feet at Manchester United. Currently, our team doesn't play that way. As a pure shot stopper, he's an upgrade. Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it really depends on also. We're trying to. I think we all are all confused as to what Roma are trying to do defensively. Right? I mean, this team that was known for its defensive solidity has already conceded 4 goals in 2 games against the lesser opponents. That's not what you call defensive solidity. So it really depends on what Roma will aim to do this season with the likes of Chris Smalling, Evan Dica, and Diego Llorente, and Gianluca Mancini. And then obviously those wing backs that we talked about, like for example, Leonardo Spinazzola not tracking back and losing his man, right? So the special one is still here, exactly. So there's no point in now thinking about what other names, because we don't know. You don't know. I see a lot of people mention the Zerbi, but the Zerbi is very happy in England, and I don't see that happening. In Samuel saying, Andy, sing that Roma anthem. Roma, 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 core d'esta città, unico grande amore. Yeah. It's just the start of the season. Don't judge Roma too early because of 4 goals conceded. And I definitely I agree. I'm not judging, but I do think that they are trying to work things out. And until you do that, you can't really you can say Patricio is on a decline, yes, but when you see those goals conceded, I really, except for that one goal with the first goal with Verona, it's a whole it's a whole team based mistake, really. All those goals that have been conceded. I mean, Paredes losing his men, Spinazzola losing his men, Smalling sleeping. It's everybody needs to be on the same wavelength. That's not what we're seeing. Um, Andy, juggle some balls while you sing. Next time, when we get to how a much higher number of subscribers, if we get to 1,000 subscribers on this channel, so click the button subscribe. Awar exposed Pellegrini's lack of skill set. I don't think that I find it very funny that all of a sudden, every time there's like this shift with Pellegrini. Fans go from loving him to downright disrespecting him as a player, calling him all kinds of names. And I actually think that Pellegrini is very skilled for a midfielder. I think he's a very good modern midfielder. The problem is that he needs to. Oftentimes he has trouble basically knowing what kind of player he is. And we've said it time and time again on the podcast. The Pellegrini that we knew when he came back from Sassuolo was a Pellegrini that for a couple of years, even for 3 years, tried to understand, who am I, what am I doing in this team. And then with the captain's armband, it seemed like he grew into a certain position within the team, on the pitch and off the pitch. And there are moments, within that Mourinho's first year, where he was absolutely lights out. Last season had a difficult year. I think we still, I mean, this is his first game back. Let's see what happens. I do agree that Hussein Moir is showing very good signs, and I'm really happy if he plays starting minutes against Milan, because that guy's just shows you that he's hungry. He sat on the bench all of last season, and he's hungry. Um, I agree. It's the whole team's defending that was at fault for the goals. We can't just blame Rui. Really, it's we. I think we can agree that Rui is on the decline, but we also can agree that the team is underperforming in when it comes to their defensive end, right? So, um, how about Lukaku's number? Yeah, that's a good question. Perhaps he'll go to the number 90. No, isn't that what he wore recently for Inter? Um, how do you think the depth at midfield and obvious experimentation will affect the results of our first few matches? The midfield has seemed solid, but it'll take time for them to settle in. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have somebody like Renato Sanchez who showed you glimpses of something, and you would like to have him, you would like to integrate him, but we all know that he's fragile, and right now he's dealing with an injury, and he'll likely be back after the break. So, um, again, Leandro Paredes, I think, showed good signs. He showed that he can play He can play, despite what John and I said of him in the past. But you can't put him in a situation that is already by nature uncomfortable to him, and then mm, put guys around him that fail to meet the assignment, right? So I think there is plenty of options, plenty of combinations, but it will take time. There has to be a margin for error, obviously. There have to be games that we just have to accept. If this team has to figure things out, it'll take time. It'll take some losses or maybe draws. Um, but I do agree that in this year, it's pretty evident by all counts that Mourinho wants to leave this team with a Champions League qualification. He wants to be like Luciano Spalletti, God bless him, in the summer of 2017, when he drove out of Trigoria on his way to sign his new contract with Inter, and said, and the camera operator was like, "So, Luciano, what's going on?" And he's like, "Siamo in Champions, ragazzi, siamo in Champions." He left us with a Champions League qualification, last minute Champions League top at against Genoa. We all remember Totti's farewell game that helped us seal the Champions League spot, and that's, I think, what Mourinho wants to do. So um, I'm pretty like, there's gonna be margin for error, yes, but this team will have to figure things out very quickly. Andy is too positive. I've been told that many, many times. Are you getting Batigol vibes from this transfer? Um, I would hope so. I would hope. The excitement is certainly there. It doesn't mean that, I mean, this team is nowhere near as talented as that team. But if you mean, Anthony, if you just mean individually Lukaku as a player that can resolve a number of problems for Roma, yes, this is a star signing. This is a star signing. Like it or not, think of Lukaku, whatever you want to think of, call him soft or all those kinds of, or overweight, whatever it was that people like to label him in the past. This is a huge signing for Roma at this point in time, especially with only a few days left, literally 2 days left to the transfer deadline. This is a huge, huge, huge signing. So kind of, yes, that kind of same effect that Batigol had. Okay, let's see. It still hurts the handball that wasn't given as a penalty in the Europa League final, for sure. And I think the consequences of not of that handball, of that missed handball, as are going to be felt throughout the season. They were felt in this transfer window. Imagine this team having a little bit more freedom in the transfer window, competing against Manchester City and for the European Super Cup. I mean, you're talking about a whole different summer, and we have to be glad that we get to celebrate Lukaku's arrival despite that, right? So that's the whole thing. Um, okay, okay, then another question. Um, Now, another question for everybody. So, what's the consensus on Leonardo Bonucci? Because I see a lot of people have mixed feelings about him. I know that this is a name that upsets many people, and other people are kind of indifferent. But I do think that this is, for now, it's just a rumor. We haven't seen too many reports on that, but it's a name that I do believe we have to watch out for. This is an experienced player, veteran, aging. He's willing to basically, I mean, slash his salary by more than half. He's desperate to stay in Italy. He doesn't care if he's going to start or not. He is in talks with Union Berlin, so a good German team with good prospects, and he's still looking to stay in Italy despite that. So I think that Lazio is a more likely option for Bonucci, but um, if if you like to look out for rumors and Google things, then I say watch out for Bonucci, because that is really a last minute option that I could see happening. I think that's a profile that Mourinho would like as a backup, as a fifth center back on a short term option. You're just getting his experience. So let's see. We have already somebody saying no. Just to quickly answer the question, is Renato Sanchez fit for Milan? No. After the break, he will be back. So Bonucci, I don't enjoy his defending at times. Yeah, he's as Juan says, yeah, for 2.5 million, which is the rumored salary that Bonucci wants. It's not a terrible deal as long as he works on the bench. The basically Juventus are willing to let him go on a free. There is a complete um, there's lots of tension between Juventus and Bonucci. The guy wanted to continue, and all of a sudden he's being cut off from the first team. He's training with the Primavera, so Juventus are more than happy to let him go on a free. So you'd be paying around 2.5 million euros in salary. Um, we need a fast center back. He's not the right profile. We can't push up the line with a defense that is so slow. Yes, but mind you, Sufyan, I think the less we ask of in a fifth center back, the better off we are. Like in terms of expectations, I don't see Roma going. That's why I'm saying that watch out for Bonucci, because I don't see Roma in this moment in time going for a profile with a huge upside, with with pace, with strength, a guy that gives you an answer for as a long-term option. That's why I say keep Bonucci in mind, because I do think that if anything, if we see Roma go for anything, it's going to be more of something like that, of a 1 year deal, or a loan with very little very little obligations involved, and experience. I do think that Mourinho wants experience in his last year in the capital. Long term we should target him, but this is not, yeah, we you have to consider, in my opinion, the center back that Roma are looking for is a short term option. Goalkeeper, it's definitely something long term. I don't see Roma, for example, going for, I saw somebody mention Handanovic. I don't see Roma all of a sudden saying to Rui Patricio, you know what, take a seat, and we'll introduce 39-year-old Handanovic as our starting keeper. Will we get to see Jay-Z next to the Friedkins Olympica? We'll certainly get Stormzy at the stadium. I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen with Lukaku on the team. If we play for at the back, Bonucci and Dika can play together. I really think that that's the kind of thinking is Roma want experience. They want somebody that can pass the ball, that is good with his feet. Bonucci fulfills that criteria. Ciao from Florida, says John. Hello, John. Thank you for joining us. This is the Roma Press live stream. If you haven't, guys, subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell to get notifications whenever we do these things, so you know in advance. I like to schedule these, and I'm trying to do them more often. We'll probably do some with John as well as we go forward. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. I just met Lukaku. He just signed my computer keyboard. I don't know what to make of it. This is the internet after all. Can they do another loan? Yeah, Roma can do another loan. Roma can do another loan. The loan rule only functions when you are the team parting ways with the player. You only have a limited number of players that you can let go on loan. There is a good young goalkeeper in Russia playing from Krasnodar. He wants to leave Europe. He wants to leave to Europe. Might be a bargain. I'm sure that the Roma are looking at younger profiles that we don't know of. Perhaps there is something for Vladimiro Falcone of Lecce. Lecce and Roma are on very good terms. We also, now that Faticanti went to Lecce, and that is sort of like I do believe that signing Faticanti from the Primavera to Lecce is a bit of a handshake for the future. Like let's keep it going. Let's keep this good relationship going as long as Lecce are in Serie A. Lecce's Pantaleo Corvino, the director, is very good friends with Tiago Pinto. So, do you have a WhatsApp group, Andy? Yes, AC. You can join the patron group chat if you join our patron. So if you go to patreon.com/Roma Press, you can sign up. There are, you can chip in, you can help support the show. And among the various things that we offer, including extra episodes, and more, we also add you to a patron group chat where you can interact with all kinds of psychopaths that are Roma fans. Elvedi instead of Bonucci could be a good way. Yeah, Elvedi, that was a name that was linked to us, right? The Swiss defender. He was linked as a potential replacement for Roger Ibanez earlier in the summer. It's a bit of a more expensive profile, I think, at the moment. And I think he's being linked with the Premier League. But we'll see. Again, I think if Roma are gonna go for somebody this late in the window, look out for that center back position. If Roma are going to offload somebody this late in the window, look out for Ola Solbakken. I think Leonardo Spinazzola is, it's very difficult. I would love to be able to, to have Manchester United come knocking our door and offer, I don't know, 10 million for Spinazzola. That's never gonna happen. Um, I'm just I'm just checking what's happening right now. More madness. Wow. Yeah, the fans blocking the car with Thiago Pinto on board as he tries to exit Ciampino. I hope that's on good terms. I hope people are grateful because yeah, it's on, people are just happy. And that's good. That's the kind of thing that you want when you lose a Europa League final. That's what you want. You want to start with the new season with a bang, right? And I think the Friedkins, they come from the States, and they come from a world where you have to make a show, and perhaps they can do what good old Todd Bowley is doing at Chelsea, another American businessman, where he's just throwing money in the air. But within that limited scope, they're still trying to entertain us, to provide us with excitement. So, Steve says, more patrons, more vacations for Andy. That's the thinking, Steve. Thank you. Andy looking to purge the Swede from the club. My host. Yeah, well, Norwegians, Scandinavian, either way. Yes, Mads. I'm not trying. I think Roma are trying that, but whatever keeps your Scandinavian agenda going. English media reporting that United have bid for Cucurella. Looks like Spinazzola sale isn't happening. Obviously, it's always difficult. The fact that Manchester United asked Roma for information about Spinazzola, it doesn't mean anything. It can only mean like, hey guys, like, is he available or not? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye. Like, love your podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amel. That's very kind. Let's see. Jose is the best coach that knows how to use Lukaku. Lukaku thrives under managers that understand how to apply his strengths. Jose and Antonio Conte, I think, also are the only guys that can handle Lukaku on and off the pitch. To really get into his head. That's what you need to do with a guy like Lukaku. If you start to undermine him, it's not gonna go well. So I think that's why Lukaku is the perfect solution at this point in time, the best name we can hope for, because he's physically on the pitch. He's the kind of guy that Mourinho thrives on, um, to lead his attack, and also just mentally, he's a player that needs that guy who's gonna get into his mindset and is gonna grind him all season long. Um, give them Spinazzola and take Eric Bailey. But is Eric Bailey still at Manchester United? Did he return from that disastrous loan at Lyon? I think, wasn't it? Yeah, that wasn't a good. I don't think that's a profile that we would want. An injury-prone center back that hasn't had a good season. Oh yeah, he's still at Manchester United, and he wasn't at Lyon. He was at Olympique de Marseille. Sorry, but yeah, I think that's the last name that you want on this list. Podcast is good. We Jose fans became from fans, but we cannot understand any press conference. Thanks for translating. Yes, I told, that's the point of our site in the first place, to allow people from all over the world to try and get a taste of what's happening, because all kind Italian media are not very good at transmitting news to international audiences. So we try to facilitate that. So I'm glad that that we are achieving our objective. I went to a tarot card reader yesterday. She said third place guaranteed. Lukaku 19 goals, I assume that means, or 14. Lukaku, okay, that's a okay. Well, that's a good prediction. Hopefully, hopefully, I would do all kinds of things to get top four, and don't even mention top three. Come on. um Ville, thank you, Ville. Love the podcast. Love your sarcasm and humor, Andy. I have to take a short vacation from the group chat to protect my mental health, though. Love to all. Of course, Ville. That's totally understandable. We understand it. It's you can still join back whenever you feel like it. Sports is like that. Football is like that. Roma is like that. Roma will drive you insane. That's why John and I sort of over time developed this understanding that you cannot you cannot put so much emphasis, especially when we're recording the show, on the negative aspects. Like, you can analyze a situation, but try to always keep a balance mindset. 10 goals for Belotti. I do think, guys, who's a Belotti fan in this live stream? I know I am. I hope this guy can come up big this year. I think he deserves it. I think he's a hard worker, and this is a guy that has always delivered in Serie A. Clearly, a guy that Jose believes in, because if he didn't believe in him, Belotti would be gone this year. Instead, Roma extended his contract until 2025. He could have left. He could have left after only 1 year. Instead, both parties agreed to continue together. Belotti is a fighter. Yes, I see Samuel saying me. Everybody should be a Belotti believer, says Caddy. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, obviously that's it's good. Roma is like an Italian mistress I have on the side. One weekend she drives me insane. She makes me the happiest guy in the world. Are you like Tony Soprano having that side chick? And hopefully it doesn't end the same way, and trust me, it won't be cinematic, right? That's a wow. That's a great scene. That's a great scene. um can we somehow play Belotti and Lukaku together? Good question. Can we, guys? That's a question to you all, because I don't know. The only mentions that I've seen so far in terms of partnership this season is Dybala and Lukaku. That's what we can look forward to. Now, once again, Dybala's condition is very unpredictable, and the guy can be injured a lot of the time. Um, but I do believe that Belotti is also he's a guy that adapts very easily to whoever he works with, and that doesn't mean that he's going to be effective. But the whole point of having these options is to play around with them. Certainly, a guy like Sardar Azmoun can play with Lukaku. We saw Lukaku play with Lautaro Martinez. I think Sardar Azmoun in that aspect is similar to Martinez, to the ability of having a partner up front. That was the whole point. Remember when Serdar Azmoun was first linked to Roma, was to come play with Edin Dzeko up front. So I think, yeah, people saying Lukaku plus Azmoun with Dybala behind them. Yeah, I think that would be an idea. Belotti, Lukaku, Dybala, best team in the world. Hopefully, guys. Hopefully, once again, these signings are great. They don't resolve everything. They address certain things. This gives us not only the excitement back that we needed after that Europa League final defeat, but it also gives us the awareness that this team, this club, is trying to up its visibility and also its quality on the international stage, on the European stage. And that doesn't mean that this team doesn't have problems. That doesn't mean that the team will not concede goals. Doesn't mean that the wing backs are going to be a problem. you know if you get Lukaku, you need somebody to give him the ball, to cross the ball and make that cross accurate. So if Leonardo Spinazzola or Nicola Zalewski continue to deliver the kind of crosses that they've been delivering over the past the past few games, that's not gonna end up well. So Lukaku, great. Roma still have a lot of work left to do. I think we can all agree on that. Um, let's see what else. Roma will match will be like watching a great movie with sometimes ending in a terrible climax. Hype just disappears during the end. And sometimes it actually delivers a fantastic twist. I mean, Roma, we've seen Roma in the past deliver the kind of storylines that you would never expect them to deliver in the first place. So it's with Roma. You again, I said it before on the previous live stream. It's the most unpredictable team in the world. I miss Benjamin Tahirovic. I wish we had a buyback clause. Yes, I can imagine that somebody, that. But I also think that this is a player that needed a different environment to play in order to grow, in order to excel. I think a team like Ajax will fit him better. Um, he is not a player, Tahirovic, that would have been able to have the kind of impact that he may have at Ajax with Roma this season. Um, Roma will beat Milan come Friday. Will they? I don't know. I definitely know that we can't count them out. So easily. This is again a team that delivers surprises. So, and mind you, Friday transfer window is over, right? So by that time, we can all focus on football. We can all think about what's going on in the pitch. We're not thinking about what's happening behind the scenes. We're not thinking about the names. We're not thinking about the rumors. That's all done. So we'll be thinking only about Roma. I have a good feeling ahead of this Milan game. Until now, everything went against us. I hope it is going to change this time. It really all depends on, can the team get it together? We know they can. They can. It's we'll have Houssem Ouar back to the starting 11 most likely. That's, I can see that happening. Paulo Dybala still a question mark. We don't know. He didn't train yesterday. He didn't train today. Renato Sanchez is out, but it doesn't mean that if Milan got all the two games so far right, if they went on a scoring run with Pulisic and Giroud, doesn't mean that they will be unstoppable against Roma as well. It really, I think, a lot of it, most of it, depends on Roma. Can Roma react? Can Roma play confident back at home? Can they learn not to concede? Can they relearn not to concede goals, especially at home in a packed Olimpico? That's the thing. Um, Will Indica play on Friday? I said it before. I doubt that a guy who doesn't play against Salernitana and Hellas Verona plays against Milan. I really doubt it. Indica, according to reports, he's a bit behind in his fitness and his getting on the same wavelength as the rest of the teammates. So I believe that if we are going to see a starting performance from him, we're going to see it after the break. Will Lukaku play? Mourinho did this with Tammy. Yes, but Tammy trained with the team. Tammy wasn't excluded from Chelsea's squad. Tammy was still training with his team. He may not have been given a lot of minutes, but he was still training. He had done all of preseason. He came in early August. Remember, Tammy Abraham comes in around August 9th, and the season started shortly afterwards. Lukaku hasn't trained with the team in 3 months, so you have to consider that the Lukaku will need time to adjust, to get back to his feet, and so I would say 2-3 weeks. That's the minimum. Yeah, we'll need that much time. Zaleski trained. Yeah, Zaleski's back. He didn't suffer any concussions, so he's gonna be good to go with Milan. Do you know if any of the fan groups are planning to make some sort of protest against the outrageously high ticket prices for the Milan game? Honestly, Mads, that's a good question. Although I know where you're going with this, but I I doubt that such banners will be displayed after this Lukaku deal. Honestly, like from a PR perspective, this is fantastic. Like this is, if Roma were worried about fans, rising up because of prices going up for the Milan game. This is, it's not gonna. The Lukaku deal will certainly tame the potential protests. Roma need to play without fear on Friday. Roma is better than they feel if they can overcome some fear. I don't know if it's fear. I think it's just insecurity in terms of trying to come up with a different way of playing. They're clearly experimenting with a different playing style according to the players that have come in, and they're trying to get everybody on board. So far, only Hussein Moar has really made an impact. So it's gonna take time, definitely. When Tammy comes back, we'll have two big strikers to launch the ball to. We're already great in the air, but this would be another level. You have to also take into consideration that Tammy Abraham is looking to come back to Roma in March, April. You have to imagine that Tammy will most likely skip the majority of this season, if not all of this season. And Tammy Abraham was supposed to be one of the players that would leave the club this summer, and his injury sort of took a toll on Roma's transfer plans, but opened up this possibility of acquiring Lukaku. At the same time, you have to think, if you sold Tammy Abraham for a good amount of money, maybe you would have invested in a long-term option rather than a short-term option with Lukaku. Leao can become frustrated and bored if things are not going how he planned. And in their first game, he was forgettable. I think this Milan side is good, but not unbeatable. We can win. Definitely. Again, this is the start of the season, so it doesn't mean anything. This is the start of the season. The mistakes that you make cost you. Yes. You lose points. Yes. You should have won against Salernitana, Hellas Verona. Yes. uh, can these mistakes be mended and avoided in the future? Yes. Does this mean does the fact that Milan won on cruise control the first two games, does this mean they will compete for the Scudetto? They're already Scudetto winners? No. There is a whole season ahead of you, and things are bound to change. So definitely Roma. I'm not making any predictions for this game because when it comes to big matches, I don't want to. But I think it's fair to say that both teams are on equal footing. Um, Somebody joining us. Hello, hi. Imagine Roma winning Scudetto in Europa. Will that be too much? No, that will not be too much. They will also win the European Super Cup, which they should have competed for this year, and unfortunately, we all know how it went. So guys, I will soon be closing this live stream. I think we covered all of the talking points. Lukaku just came in, is gonna go now, probably going to undergo his medical with the club tomorrow morning, because right now it's a bit late. It's around 7 p.m. here in local time, but Roma are still being linked with Leonardo Bonucci as a potential defensive reinforcement, because Bonucci is on his way out of Juventus and could join any club for free. And the player is pushing to remain in Italy, with Lazio and Roma being linked with him. So keep an eye out for that name. I'm just going to say that because if anything's going to happen before the transfer deadline, that is that is something to look out for. Gabriel saying, "Hey Andy, nice to see you after so many years listening to you and John." Yeah, exactly. A lot of somebody said we thought you were a 40-year-old something, and no, when we started recording this with John, we I was just in my second year of uni. So still, Roberto Pereira hasn't found a team yet. It would be a great help if it comes to Roma. Yeah, but I don't think I think Roma are fine. Like our Roma are stacked in midfield and attack. This is it. Roberto Pereira. It's a good cheap pickup, but I think it's if Roma are going to add somebody to the team, it's going to be a defender, I believe, before the transfer deadline. Um, Otherwise, I wouldn't get my hopes up about a goalkeeper. Guys, please accept the fact that Rui Patricio is most likely going to conclude his time at Roma with this season being our starting striker. If things go bad, Miles VR will take over, but I doubt that Roma will try and go for somebody else, because that is a long term thing to address. Meanwhile, the defender like Bonucci, short-term option that Roma would like to add a fifth center back. That's something that we have to consider. So those are the rumors. That's the situation. I think we got it covered. If you would like to subscribe, please do so. This will keep you up to date with everything that we're doing here. We're releasing our podcast episodes here as well. We're going to try and start releasing them on video as soon as we get the software sorted. In the meantime, I'm going to keep doing these live streams. John will most likely also join me soon in one of these. And also, please consider becoming patrons if you like the show, if you like the website, if you like this YouTube channel. It would really help us if you go on patreon.com/Roma Press. That keeps us going. So thank you so much. I hope that this format exactly is achieving its objective. I wanted a more direct line of communication with all of you, and I think we are onto something. So people, hopefully uh, we can do something like this again, either before Milan or after Milan. I'll come on here, so keep an eye out, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much all for watching. It really means a lot that everybody is so optimistic and responding positively to this. um, Who's gonna volunteer to watch John's 10 kids so he can do the next live stream? That's the question, guys. It's not, it's not like a choice, that I'm just the one doing this. John would also love to do it. It's just John's schedule is busier. um, Great show. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much, guys. This is this is half of me, half of you. So I'm really glad that we get to do this. Thank you so much. I'll keep you posted, and see you on the next Roma Press live stream. Thank you so much, guys. Forza Roma. Ciao.